By now, I think most of you know that Star Wars Episode 9 could have been far different. From the title itself, which of course was Duel of the Fates, to a radically different story with different main characters such as Rose standing in the forefront. Now we finally hear from Colin Trevorrow, who of course was on that movie, but then he got off the movie. So Colin Trevorrow's version certainly would have been different. I mean, tonally different, the style of the story would have been different. We know that by the end of the film, the same sort of message would have been there, but it's the execution of it. And of course, we know pieces of the things he developed for the movie did get moved over to some other parts of Star Wars, like the TIE Marauder, for example, that he developed. We know that was used in Disneyland, so that's kind of cool. You know, if it's ever invented for Star Wars, they always put it in a vault and then they might come back to it. We've seen that happen with Mandalorian and such, so it's kind of cool that that happened. Recently, though, Trevorrow opened up a little bit about his experience spending time on it, and how he just feels good about getting to work on it, but how it's sort of and he says traumatic in a way that how much time you spend and it just kind of goes away, and the disappointment of where it ends up for him, and hopefully that in the end everything sort of found its way to how it should be in the universe. And I kind of take that as him saying, you know, look, it led me to be able to do these other projects like the Jurassic Worlds and stuff, right? And you know, that's kind of true. It always feels like when things go bad, they always tend to lead to something good generally. So you never know what it would have been like had he stayed on the final Star Wars. Would fans have hated it as much because it would have changed during the development? You know, would the fans have even been able to accept The Last Jedi had The Last Jedi went a different direction to lead up to this one? Again, we just don't know. And it's one of these things where so many factors go into it that you don't know what the end product would have been. And he sort of echoes that here, saying, you know, it was a different thing, a different film he was developing, a different time in his life, and the franchise was going in a different direction. Now, of course, we know they plan to use the Emperor since The Force Awakens. That's been made very public in the last year or so. But again, you don't know how this would have affected the flow of everything in the second film, and specifically the third film. And certainly it's a monumental task to be able to take two different directors' films, such as The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and then do the third one and have to pay off everything. So I think, honestly, I feel like he does as well, and that's like, look, I kind of dodged a bullet on that one, because I'd imagine he'd have all the people on him hating him had he screwed it up. And seeing how Disney sort of handled each entry, yeah, you know, I feel like there definitely would have been some problems with the film, regardless of if you think the concept art looks good or not. There definitely would have been some tonal issues that probably would have been the meddling of the studio.